Welcome to session 2 on Google Forms. I'm going to pick up where I left off last time. I had just finished question 3. I'm going to scoot back and examine my work, and I have noticed that I did not tick the button over here that said that question 2 should be required. I do not want my audience to submit this form without responding to every single question, so I want to make sure that I take care of that. I'm also going to scoot down to question 3. I need to click on question 3 in order to make adjustments to it. Some of those features are not on display until I click on that question. And you can see how all of those different design features have now appeared. I'm going to tick the button right here that says that this specific question is required, and I'm going to explain some of the other features that we see here on display. The letter M that you see right here is probably not going to show up when you are here. This is based on a Chrome extension that I have applied, and so this is letting me know that I can click in order to use it, so you will not see that. This item right here lets me know that I can duplicate this question. If for some reason the next question or a future question should be very similar in nature to this one, I don't have to start from scratch all over. I can actually just click this button, and then you'll notice that I now have 2 of exactly the same question. In the event that I'm working on a grammar, syntax, or punctuation question and I just want to modify that just a little bit in a quiz, for example, then I don't need to start from the beginning. I can actually just modify that question slightly and then use that modified question if I see fit. Now let's pretend that I accidentally clicked the duplicate button and I really don't want a duplicate. I actually would love to delete it. I can just use the delete button located right here. The trash can will allow me to delete that question. This item over here that looks like a skinny snowman would be the More button, letting me know that more items are tucked away into this space, but I must click on it in order to show them. When I click that, I have these particular features that show up. If I need a description on a question, I can apply a description. In the event I would like to break up my form into sections, Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, then I can move from section to section in this space. The other option down here at the bottom is that if I want to shuffle the option order, then I can shuffle that. So maybe historically I know that answer A, B, and C are going to show up in a particular fashion over and over again in that order. If I want to shuffle the answer options, then I have the capacity to do that here. For example, if it were a quiz type situation and there were 5 answer options, instead of all 5 answer options showing up in exactly the same order for every single student, then Google recognizes that I want those answer options to be shuffled. So it's not just A, B, C, D, and E for every single student, it jumbles them up. So there's a randomized scattering of those answer options. Then I could apply this right here. I'm going to scoot back one previous question and I'm going to modify that question. And then I'll scoot back down here and then I'll continue with a new question. Let me scoot up here, and for this one, when I click on it, you will notice right up here that it says multiple choice. If I choose the small triangle to the right, I will have a drop-down menu that allows me to choose a variety of different answer options. If I want someone to respond with a short answer, it seems pretty self-explanatory that the first one just says short answer. So a phrase, a sentence, something small. Item number 2 is a paragraph. If I need my students to respond in a paragraph, identifying key themes housed inside of a book that we just read, then they could supply a paragraph for that response. Or if my students performed a lab in chemistry and I want them to re-articulate the specific steps in order to complete that specific task, then a paragraph might be a quality response option to ensure that the students understood with clarity everything that was expected of them inside of that lab. So far we have seen multiple choice as the option so far for questions 1, 2, and 3. Check boxes would be perfect if there is more than one correct answer. If PTC wants to inquire how specific monies can be spent at your site, either technology tools, outdoor playground resources, or supplementary teaching tools, and you have an opinion on more than one and you would like to check more than one box, hey, I like this one and I like this one, then the checkbox option allows you to use your voice on more than one response. Or if the students were supposed to choose all of the correct answers, checkboxes would appear. Drop down is the next one. I'll model what that looks like. The next one is a file upload. So if you are the teacher in charge of the end of year talent show and you want all of the parents to provide you with the audio file for the song or the dance routine or the background music for the ninja presentation, one of the best ways for you to receive those files, email could be an option. Doesn't always work out splendidly. Parents might send you a link to a Dropbox or a Google file or this or that or whatever. However, they can actually drop that file into a Google form. Or if you want individuals to send you pictures, those sorts of things, people can supply you with a file. And so the file upload option would appear here. The other ones I'll eventually model a little bit later, and then date and time are somewhat self-explanatory. If someone is supposed to respond with a date as an answer, then you would choose date. There are times where month, date, and year is the most efficient answer choice. For example, if you're gathering information about employees as an icebreaker, this would be a great way to gather birthday information. Another situation would be a site social. If someone is going to have a baby and you're having a baby shower, maybe not everybody remembers when the baby's due date is. And so maybe you're using this as a tool to give away prizes. Individuals who respond to the most questions correctly could then receive one of the prizes that we have located over here. In either of those situations, you need month, day, and year as the response option. If someone is supposed to respond with a time as an answer, then time would be an option as well. Let me go ahead and take question 2 and turn it into a drop down instead. So right now we have multiple choice selected. Let me scoot down, and we're right here where it says drop down. I'm going to click one time. I do not need to delete the question and start over. I can simply modify the response option right over here. I'm going to click one time. You'll notice that numbers appear over here. Those numbers are not going to show up on display for my audience, but it's just signifying that there's not a circle that somebody will click. They will simply choose one of these options from the drop-down menu. If at any point I would like to look at this from the perspective of my audience, I can come right over here and click on the eyeball. The eyeball is going to force this form to open in an adjacent tab, and it will behave like I am part of the audience or recipient. You could use either word interchangeably. Here I am over here in this adjacent tab. My email is required, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. If you do not want someone to sign into your organization and you want to allow that visibility to go larger than beyond the parameters of your institution, your organization, we'll talk about that. Right now, the default is that it has to be someone in my organization, and it's automatically going to collect those emails. You'll notice the title appears at the top. You'll notice that those directions or that description appear next. When we scoot down, I am asking my audience the shirt option that they would want. Do you want logo design A? Do you want logo design B? Or do you want logo design C? And because it's multiple choice, they only have one option. They cannot choose more than one. They would have to use the check boxes if they would want to utilize more than one response option. What size would you like? They're going to select from the drop-down menu. There's no right or wrong answer for questions 1 and 2. Multiple choice and drop-down are both sufficient. It's just a matter of preference. You're the designer, you're the author, you get to choose. So then someone's going to come in and they're going to choose the size that they like. And this little asterisk right here, the red asterisk, is indicating to my audience that this question is required. They cannot click the submit button if this particular item has not been selected. Because answer option 1 came with a color, sadly it's going to force all the rest of these options to show up with a box. If you believe that this response space is cumbersome and unfriendly and not helpful, you've got two options. You can either delete the gray over here, or you can supply a color for each of these over here. So we'll go back and we'll go ahead and delete the gray one up here, and then it will void out the rest of these boxes so that I am not required to supply an image for all of the remaining answer options. Here I am in this space. If I scoot over here and I click on this color and I click the X, and then I scoot back over here to the preview option, I believe I can just click the refresh button to see what an updated preview would look like, and then see how that color disappeared. So the response space is a little bit more streamlined, only because I only had one color on display instead of all of them on display. If it were your quiz, you would choose the response option that you think would be best. And then you'll notice here at the bottom, because I only have 3 questions, the submit button appears next. The submit button will always appear at the bottom. You don't have to do anything special on your end as the author to force the submit button to appear at the bottom. It will just naturally appear at the end of the last question that you have supplied. I'm going to scoot back over and make some more adjustments. Here I am back in the form. I'm going to click the plus button one time. For this particular question, I am going to select short response. In the event additional feedback is needed, then the audience has the ability to provide me with some information that goes beyond the parameters of the questions that I have formed. In my opinion, it would be most efficient for anyone who wants to order a second or a third shirt to go in and fill out the form again, because there are unique parameters inside of this form: size, color, and style. Yet, this open response area could provide additional feedback to the office manager that may be efficient. We're running out of time in this specific video. The next time we come together, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what this moving side panel does and the different resources that it offers. Thank you so much for joining me for today's tutorial, and have a great day.